No king nor queen has ever lived who did not have enemies, and those enemies will come to know fire and blood.
The seeds of the Battle of Rook's Rest were sown in the bitter rivalry between the two factions. Rhaenyra, eldest child of King Viserys I, had been named his heir, but upon his death, her half-brother Aegon too usurped the throne. This betrayal ignited the civil war that would come to be known as the Dance of the Dragons. Rook's Rest, a castle in the Crownlands held by House Staunton, became a focal point due to its strategic location. It stood as a bulwark against the advance of the Greens into Black-held territory. The castle's lord, Staunton, had declared for Rhaenyra, a decision that would soon put him at the center of one of the war's deadliest battles. As the war progressed, the Greens sought to tighten their grip on the Crownlands. They aimed to capture key strongholds loyal to Rhaenyra, and Rook's Rest was a prime target. The castle's location on the western shore of Blackwater Bay made it a valuable asset for controlling maritime routes and securing supply lines. The Greens laid plans to capture Rook's Rest. King Aegon II and his brother, Prince Aemond Targaryen, decided to lead a direct assault, believing that the power of their dragons, Sunfyre and Vhagar, would ensure swift victory. They mustered a formidable force, combining their land troops with the terrifying might of their dragons. As the days passed, tension grew in Rook's Rest. Lord Staunton received word of the approaching Green forces and hastily prepared his defenses. Every able-bodied man and woman was called to action. Walls were fortified, supplies were stockpiled, and weapons were readied. As dawn broke over Rook's Rest, the defenders braced themselves for the impending onslaught. The first sighting of the Greens' forces struck fear into their hearts. The massive forms of Sunfyre and Vhagar darkened the skies as they approached, flanked by Aegon's soldiers. The Greens issued a call for Lord Staunton to surrender. Staunton responded by hurling defiance from the castle walls, declaring that Rook's Rest would stand for Queen Rhaenyra. With negotiations failing, the battle commenced. Sunfyre and Vhagar unleashed their fiery wrath upon the castle, setting its towers ablaze. The defenders' arrows and spears proved futile against the scales of the dragons. Amidst the chaos, the gates of Rook's Rest were breached, and the Greens poured into the castle. Just as defeat seemed inevitable, a thunderous roar filled the air. From the south came the dragon Meleys, ridden by Rhaenys Targaryen, the queen who never was. With her arrival, the tide of battle shifted. Meleys, known as the Red Queen, was a seasoned dragon, and Rhaenys a formidable rider. The sky above Rook's Rest became a theater of death as three dragons clashed in a brutal aerial duel. Sunfyre, despite its youth and inexperience, fought valiantly but was no match for Meleys and Vhagar's combined might. Prince Aemond, a top Vhagar, engaged Meleys with ferocity. The dragons' roars and the sound of their fire echoed for miles around. The battle raged on with devastating intensity. Vhagar and Meleys tore at each other with claws and teeth, their roars shaking the very foundations of Rook's Rest. Sunfyre, though injured, continued to lash out with fiery breath, setting everything around ablaze. Rhaenys and Meleys fought bravely, but they were ultimately outmatched. In a final, desperate maneuver, Meleys crashed into Sunfyre, sending both dragons and their riders plummeting to the ground. The impact was catastrophic. Sunfyre was gravely injured, Aegon too severely burned and crippled. Rhaenys and Meleys perished in the fall, a devastating blow to the Blacks. The Battle of Rook's Rest demonstrated the deadly cost of dragon-on-dragon combat and the relentless brutality of the civil war. Both sides were left to reckon with the devastation, their forces weakened, and their dragons fewer in number. The Blacks, though struck by the loss of Rhaenys, rallied around her memory, using her sacrifice as a rallying cry to continue their fight against the usurper. Queen Rhaenyra's determination to ascend the Iron Throne grew ever stronger, her supporters more resolute. Greens, on the other hand, had to contend with a grievously injured king and the loss of Sunfyre's full strength. Prince Aemond, emboldened by his part in the victory, grew more ambitious and ruthless, his hatred for Rhaenyra intensifying. Thus, the Battle of Rook's Rest stands as a testament to the ferocity of the Dance of the Dragons, a brutal reminder that in the Game of Thrones, no victory comes without a cost, and even the mightiest of creatures can fall.